This is a video unlike any other video that I've ever seen, especially for newer content creators. Because what I'm going to do in this video is show you how I'm commenting on somebody else's work product they've shot through the editor. I do a course called the Video Seminar. It's designed for business people. And most people that come to this are new content creators. We don't get a lot of seasoned people that come to this. And so about a month ago, I got a call from this guy who had taken the course a couple years ago, and he said, you know what, love the course, but I never did anything with it. But now I'm in, I went to this boot camp, social media stuff, I want to be the video guy, can you help me? I said, sure, I'll give you a hand. So I'd help him with some script development and storyboarding, and right now I'm helping him with his editing. He just started using a real camera instead of his iPhone. Now, he's in Los Angeles, I'm in the Seattle area, we do this through Zoom and so forth. But I just edited a video for him, and I think it's a terrific teaching opportunity to show new content creators some of the common things that happen when you start out, and I'm going to show you this through the editor. So this is not an editing course. This is me with the editor open, commenting on some of the clips and the mistakes that were made and how to fix them, and also the latitude that you have in post with editing software and what you don't. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 4 basic things, okay? I'm going to talk about shot composition, audio, exposure, and white balance. So the next piece is about 13 minutes long. I hope you like it, and I'll see you on the back end. Alrighty, just got done editing Mark's video, and I wanted to make this video because I took these frames and then on the back end of it, I just set up another edit inside the same project. And what I want to do here is just go over some basic shot frame and other things that are right and wrong about the camera. This is using, I think it's a Rebel T6i or something like that. It's the high-end consumer level Canon camera, which is a great camera. All right. But just learning how to do the settings and some things, I just want to show from the editor's perspective. These are some things to think about and work on and figure out about your camera before your next shoot. Okay, so I've got the screen capture running. Let's go to that next. All right, I'm not going to go through every single clip. I think I got most of them here. But the way I've done this is I just play. I've got the raw one first. Okay. You're not going to be able to hear the audio on this, but it doesn't matter. There's one clip that the audio matters, but you'll see that in the final edit here. All right, so let's take a look at this one and see what's going on. I like the way this is shot framed. I like the lens on this camera much better than the iPhone, much better. And here's why, because of the focal length, okay? Smartphones, not iPhones, smartphones, they have wide angle lenses, okay? And that's not flattering to the face, okay? The optimal focal length for any portrait is 85 millimeters full frame equivalent. I'm not going to get it right now. You can look it up if you want. But I like this lens. I like the camera. I personally like the look of this much better than the phone, okay? And I like the way this is shot framed as well, okay? Good shot framing. And here's the problem. The problem is in the exposure value. So if you look back here, you're lit up by these glass doors, I think. And you've got some light coming in here. However it was done, the sensor is reading based on this, and that's why the face is so much darker. Okay, and I'll show you in a minute how I can correct that in the edit and post, but I'm using Adobe Premiere Elements software, and there's limits to it. You can't just like reinvent everything. You've got to get this in-camera stuff right, or as right as you can, okay? But just for now, the note, if there was more light directly on the face, and that's where the meter was set to read, it would have been perfect exposure. So work on that with the camera, okay? So here's what I was able to do in the fix. Okay, so if you see here, this is a little more blown out back here, but because it takes up so little of the frame composition, you can actually get away with it. I think it's fine. I mean, it's not optimal, but it's okay. But the point is, this is a much better lit face by pushing up the exposure compensation, the brightness a little bit, and the white. Okay, those are the 3 things I fiddled with in the edit. Okay, next one. Here's the raw. Okay, so let's start with this. Let's start with shot framing. So this is pretty good, but it could be a little bit better. All right, so here's what I don't like about this. I don't like about with this tree being over here and nothing being over here. Okay. One theory is you can balance a shot. So if you came over this way a little bit more, it's like the tree's over here and you're over here. That's one thought about it. Another thought is to use the rule of thirds, okay, where you would just be 1/3 in here and there would be nothing really to your other side. This isn't bad, but I noticed it first when I started editing this, okay? The second thing is, on this one, again, you're exposed too dark in the face. Now, this is okay. I mean, I can fix this. Okay, it's not too much, but just notice that, okay? And the other thing is, on pretty much all these clips, I had to turn down the saturation value. So I would go into your camera settings, into whatever picture profile you're using, and turn down your saturation just a scooch, okay? So here is the next one. So this is the same clip fixed, the way I fixed it. Okay, now when I'm shooting, you know, these kind of shots right here, and I'm editing, I'm looking at the skin tone, okay? And that's really what I correct off of is the skin tone. It's the most important thing in a shot like this, okay? Now I'm gonna pull this back just a little bit. This is a little small thing you can see here, but you see how you got into that light right there? And I've done it too, a lot of people do. Just a little ticky-tock thing, just kind of be careful of it. This will happen when you're shooting closer to sunrise and closer to sunset because of the angle of the sun. If this was shot midday, you wouldn't get that effect because the sun would be coming straight down, okay? All right, next one. So here's the raw. Okay, now I know you can't hear that right now because I have the headphones plugged in. All right, now, it's this clip right here. Look at the peaking. It's all distorted. So the gain, the input level was too high on the mic. Again, it's better to go a little bit lower and pump it in post, which I needed to do on the audio gain on the first couple clips. I didn't mention that yet. But look at the wave values over here and over here. These are two separate clips compared to this one, okay? So here's the problem. If you shoot your clip so that it's distorted, you're not going to recover it. It just, you can't. It just doesn't happen, okay? So, sorry, but that's that. All right, and that was the issue with that clip. One other small thing with this one, and I did fix this as much as I could. Notice the yellowishness here, okay? That's color temperature. This is a little bit too warm on the white balance, but correctable with software, okay? So let's look at that next. Okay, so if you look at the white and so forth, I could pull that down. I actually pushed the blue value up. I cooled it off a little bit. Blue's a cooler color temperature. But, you know, still paying attention to the skin tones. And the way that I did this was I looked at the color of the shirt. So you see the color here. This is the after, and that's the before. It's subtle, but it's there, okay? And I pushed it as far as I could. Okay, next one. I love you in this clip. This is a really terrific shot of you. Your acting, your presence has really gotten better. There was one kind of pregnant pause in scene 3 that I had to get rid of. And I did the best I could with that. I just jumped it a little bit just to get rid of some, like about a second and a half of you were just like, and then, but other than that, this is awesome, man. Much better. Good job. And here's what I don't like. I don't like all this space above your head. Here's what you should go for optimally. Now, if you look at where I am right now, this is about where I like to be. Now, I could be a little bit more above the head. I personally don't like that. It's just my taste. But notice the head height here, and let me go back to scene 1, and notice the head height here. This is the correct one. See the difference? Much better than this one. So when you're shot framing, make sure you pay attention to that, okay? Now this clip was shot in full HD, which is 1920 by 1080 resolution, not in 4K. The problem is, I mean, I could pull this, I could crop it, and move your head up, bring you more into the picture, but I'm going to lose, you know what I'm saying? What I'm going to, you know what I'm going to lose? I'm going to lose that thing. It's called quality. Yeah, because, you're shooting it at full HD. So be mindful of head height when shot framing. Okay. All right. Here's the fixed one. Okay. So just a little bit of color correction, that versus that. Not much. You did a good job of shooting that one, except for the head height thing. Okay. This one, last one. I could recover this a little bit, but not much, okay? I don't want to sit here and just nitpick this. I'm just going to tell you what I don't like. How's that work for you? Okay, so first of all, I know this is the doorway of the house, obviously. I don't like this backdrop. It's barren. It's just not pretty. It's not you. It's not right. I wouldn't shoot there anymore, man. I just wouldn't. I know I've seen a couple of ones from you. I don't like it. This up here and your head down here, it's not balanced. It kind of looks like the camera's a little bit of an angle. Almost like you shot this with an iPhone instead of your Canon. I don't know. It could be, but I just don't care for it. Enough of that. Okay. Head thing, same deal. All right. So look at the exposure on the face. Okay. This is a very much overexposed shot, and the color temperature is not correct because your skin's way more yellow. Now, I know you're outside, and I don't know if this was shot with an ND or not, but look at this skin tone compared to like this one or this one. Okay. Now, it's kind of a bad moment for you there. Sorry. Oh, yeah. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. That to me looks like an accurate skin tone. Okay. Nope. So again, this is the exposure value. You need to turn it down. If the camera has a histogram, start using that so that when you learn your camera, you can figure out where your exposure values need to be. Okay. So I couldn't recover a lot of this. Here's the after. That's the most I could do, which isn't a lot, okay? Let me show you one other thing about this clip, just to be super nitpicky, but to go back to something I said earlier. Okay, let's look at the WAV files, the audio. See this one right here? That's peaking, that's distorted. This one right here, same thing. This is where you said the second option. Now, I can see that the microphone is right here, and that's fine. But when you're wearing a lapel mic, don't go like this. And just be very mindful of head movement, because you're putting way more impedance into it when you're down here like this instead of when you're shooting straight ahead. When I'm using audio recorders, like I'm using a separate one right now, I always test my audio value holding the recorder in front of me like this instead of like this, because this is where my mouth is going to be when I'm doing it. Just a little pro tip for you there, okay? Okay, so let's wrap this up. Just a couple of things to think about, okay? And just get a better relationship with your camera. Work on the exposure compensation. That was really kind of where this one, to the extent that there were in-camera problems, that's what it was. And a couple of them I could fix and a couple of them I couldn't. Okay, it's just be mindful of that, all right? Histogram is the best way to get that taken care of. Second thing is, there were a couple of them that were a little bit too warm, and I can fix that in post, but try to just make sure you get that color temperature, that white balance the way you want. The biggest thing, and we've talked about this before, is the audio, okay? So this clip right here, this one, it's unrecoverable because it's so damn distorted. I mean, you can hear it, you can understand it, but we want nice, consistent audio quality throughout. Let me show you one other thing about this audio stuff that I noticed during the edit. You're clapping at the end, okay? It's fine, you can clap as much as you want, I don't care. But let me just explain to you what the clapping is for again. You only clap if you're using separate audio, and you do it at the beginning so that the editor can line up the two tracks and delete the scratch track. Okay, I didn't get any separate audio with this. And by the way, if you have separate audio for this one, send it to me because maybe that's recoverable. But you clap in the beginning, and only if you're using separate audio tracks. You got 2 tracks. You're going to replace it with the separate audio track. Get rid of the onboard scratch track, and you have to clap at the end. Okay, just the way it is. All right. Other than that, much better, and next week will be even better. All right. So I hope you like that. I really appreciate Mark letting me use this to help you guys out. I'm going to put his contact info at the end of this video. If you need an excellent real estate agent in the greater Los Angeles area, please do call him. And remember this about your shooting. The more you can get right in camera, the easier it is to edit. And one more time, the 4 things to be thinking about: your shot composition, your audio, your exposure value, and your white balance. Good luck.